Howdy! Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I knew I wanted some snacks. Oh yeah, I colored my hair. So I'm just gonna update you guys about what life is like for me now, film-wise. And I'm going to just briefly say what's my first impressions of this Rokinon lens. It's a cine lens, or I don't know how to say it. It's a E-mount and it's T 1.5. And then I have this DJI Ronin SC gimbal that I used. So I used both of them for first time at camping. Okay, so I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm actually taking a semester off from CSUN. I figured I'd take this opportunity to look into internships and just do my own thing. It's been pretty good because I actually, even though I'm out of school, I'm actually going to community college and taking an animation course. My first dream has always been to work for Disney, so I figured that I should get familiar with animation and see if I like it. So far I like it. Who knows how I'll feel about it at the end of the course, but so far I really, really like it. And then also, in addition to the animation, I am also looking into internships. Unfortunately, a lot of internships that I applied for last semester were canceled because of COVID, so that didn't leave me with much to get. So yeah, I think it's just a thing that I'll be having to apply for very constantly. I've been doing kind of some photography things on the side. So yeah, that was fun. I've never thought I'd do photography or anything, but experiencing it is really fun. Getting paid for it mostly is fun. I'll start with the Ronin SC gimbal. It was really frustrating to balance this the first time. I was literally sweating. Yeah, it took me, I'm not used to gimbals, and so it took me a while, especially something that has, so many parts. I'll show you. Okay, so you can see that this is backwards. Okay, so just from seeing how I'm interacting with this so far, you can see that I'm not very familiar with this gimbal. Balancing is probably a big thing I'm having a hard time with so far, since I haven't really interacted with gimbals that much. Other than that, with the balancing, I eventually kind of got it, but once I was without a phone while camping, I wasn't able to do the balance test, so it was just kind of going off of my own feeling that it was balanced. And so I looked at the footage now of a test footage of me being this gimbal is really, really smooth so far. And it was actually not very balanced. There was a little swing in it and up and down or whatever. And so I would have to test that again. I've noticed when I was moving around a lot with the camera, it was kind of slowly loosening as I was moving, so that wasn't ideal. But I think I was a little conservative with how tight I was tightening that mount plate thing. My first impression is pretty good. It was just human or me error. And then with this Rokinon lens, I was very happy with this. I would definitely not recommend this for photography purposes. Yeah, I would probably just stick with filmmaking with this lens. Well, it is a cinema lens, so that would probably be common sense, but I just wanted to try it out for photography as well. I got really good shots anyways out of this, but something that you should note if you're using a Sony A7R Mark II, you're not able to do autofocus on using this lens, so you're only able to do manual focus. So what I did for photography, because I usually, when I'm doing photography, I kind of depend a lot on autofocus, while on doing cinema, I'm doing just manual focus. I cranked it up all the way to f22, and that was very helpful to get everything in focus. But the only problem is like when you go to f22, I have to crank up that ISO, and it gets pretty grainy. And especially that wasn't very helpful when I was doing some astrophotography. And it ended up, the astrophotography for my first time, it ended up looking pretty good. I was being stupid. I remember that they said when you're doing astrophotography, you should go to like a lower f-stop rather than a higher one. I assumed a higher, like a f-stop at like 22, because I was like, oh, you want to see like everything in focus or whatever. You want to see the sky. So yeah, that was another mistake on my part, but it ended up looking pretty decent. I have a Viltrox brand lens, which I'm using right now. It's 85mm. Yeah, this is a 24mm lens, and then I have a Sony lens right here. So I have 3 brands of lenses, and so far for photography, the Viltrox is the best, and the Rokinon is the best for cinema. So it's kind of surprising that Sony's own lens is not living up to like the standards, but it is pretty good. It does look a little more grainy, I noticed in the pictures, but it works. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe, comment, and like.